Goodness gracious. I gotta go and I don't have time anymore this morning to do any live streams until probably later on in the evening. But my goodness gracious, the ooh, wow, wow. For some reason, Spirit wanted me to go live on my Witch's Broom channel to talk about the incubuses and the succubuses, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. Let's go on there and talk about it. And like literally within minutes of me going live to talk about it, there wasn't any chaos here, right? Not on my end. It didn't, it can't touch me or reach me at all. But for some reason, chaos ensued on YouTube. Like it was like all of a sudden, well, that was technological issues on my behalf, on my part. Um, because I went live from the microphone that was less charged. So I had lost audio after a few minutes. And I've got two microphones. I thought that both of them were charged, but first of all, what I noticed is that when I set up the live initially, when I set it up, YouTube didn't send out any of the notifications for it. And then, sorry, I'm over here grabbing my stuff here. And then, when I finally did go live, they began to buffer my live. It was really weird. And I think that comes from YouTube itself somehow. It was really, really, really weird how YouTube did not want me to go on there to discuss the problems with succubuses and incubuses. It was really weird. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not the Manchurian candidate. You already know better than to be trying to do that. You already know better than to step forward. You're not going to step any further. Okay? So you already know that. So then what and so after I lost audio um from my microphone not being charged up, that's when you could tell that the live was just buffering. So I'm gonna either record a couple of videos about it and just upload them, or either just go live later and talk about it. I got things that I gotta get done, but make sure that y'all sub to the Witch's Broom channel so that y'all can catch um, the live stream about it. You know what? This time I'll do it more structured, because what I like to do is I like to I like to lay out my cards, and then Spirit will kind of guide me through the subject by the cards, to be honest with you. That way things are more uniform and they're not all over the place, and I cover all bases. So I'll be live from that channel, but they literally, I don't know if YouTube got a lot of people. One thing about it is that there are a lot of people that are possessed by incubuses and succubuses. A lot of people are under their possession unknowingly and unwittingly. They don't want to be. And so I think and then also I think that the incubuses and succubuses have been able to hide for quite some time. It's like, well, and so it doesn't matter if one of your possessees works at YouTube. Even it's not gonna matter. Technological, that doesn't make you more advanced, nor does that make you more powerful. It's still gonna all happen in spirit. the people that need to get the information about incubuses and succubuses to help them. uh and it's very valuable information. I mean, just like there are witches out there, because witches are not incubuses, nor are we succubuses, okay? But the information that is out there for people, they're still gonna get it. I don't understand what's up with this weirdness. It doesn't matter what you do. Goodness gracious, it does not matter. God and his spirits are always in control. The spirit of God is always in control. The gods, I'm sorry. The most high and the gods, they're always in control. You cannot control that. But what I was going to say is that just like there are good witches and so-called bad witches, which it is what it is. I think that there's probably a lot of good incubuses and good succubuses that want this information out that I'm going to talk about, because I wasn't saying that all incubuses and succubuses were bad, but there are a lot of bad ones, and the bad ones outnumber the good ones. And so we're going to talk about that on the Witch's Broom channel. I'm not going to be talking about necessarily how to eradicate them from your life. I'm not going to do that because that's not my job to give away all of my secrets. I don't have to do that. But I do want to let people know about just all of the information, because, for some reason in the spiritual community on YouTube, it's all about going against the Bible. But there are some things in the Bible, some things, okay? I don't understand what you mean, Diane Wiley. You're going to have to, I guess you're spamming the chat. I'm not sure, hon. You're going to have to be more clarifying than that. Surely there are some things in the Bible that make sense, or either people that have, done research, or scholars of certain demons and entities, they weren't all wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, obviously for me, if I were dealing with a succubus or an incubus encounter, or if I felt like I needed to get rid of one, I'm not going to do it the same way that a pastor of a church would do it, obviously, because I feel like what I would do would be more effective. Hey, Adam. But, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. And it was just really weird how YouTube was just weird. And I want to let people know, hey, listen, you cannot fight with God, the gods, and their spirits. You cannot do it. If it's time to talk about the goddamn incubus and succubuses, goddamn it, that's what we're going to talk about. All this hoopla and stuff, it was really weird because it just looked like, what it reminded me of when I went live? Like somebody with very, very long legs standing up real tall, like a tall giant, just raising their leg up and stomping forward, but you can't move for you can't move towards me. Okay, so Adam, thank you for saying that. I heard they incorporate incubus succubus for sexual magnetism rituals. We're going to actually talk about that, but humans don't need incubuses or succubuses to be sexual. In fact, these can possibly be very harmful entities, and they have been very harmful, especially if they have been sent with an assignment to do harm. So for me, if, I've never, Adam Muhammad, I've never had to do sexual magnetism ritual. I've never had to do that. I've never had to do that. I've never had to work with an incubus or succubus for that purpose. Uh, However, I will talk about what I know about them and what people need to know about them. I've never personally had to do that. And then also, I want to clear up any and all misconceptions that witches are. We're not succubuses and incubuses. A witch is a witch, and I think a lot of people get that confused. Okay, as a witch, I can tell you that I've had incubuses and succubuses attached to me since I was a kid, right? But I myself am not an incubus or a succubus, and they could never mess with my identity like that. I'm a witch. Okay? So, and they're not witches. They're not some derivative of a witch. They have nothing to do with the other. Okay? So, but if you're a human person, you already have the sexual nature for, whatever it is that you're doing with your sex magic. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to do sex magic rituals, you already have that. An incubus and a succubus could possibly be an obstacle. So I personally I've never done that. I've never done that, but I do see it highly encouraged in the spiritual community. And I am an opposer to that. And people are just going to have to accept that. You know what I'm saying? I am opposed to that. You can't fight with me. What are you going to do? You going to fight with me on it? Or are they going to fight with me over that? Or are they going to say, oh, we're going to... No, you can't. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Okay, so I'm going to talk about all of the ins and outs. I tried to go live like an hour ago, but I got things to do. Because what I was going to talk about was like I was literally going to, but we're going to have more of a structured conversation about it. You heard that incubuses and succubuses are insectoid beings. Interesting. They possibly could be. It's a possibility. I know that what we're going to discuss on the Witch's Broom channel, and I want to do it over there. I don't want to do it over here. I don't want to do it over here. And my spirit's going to deal with whoever that is down at YouTube. They, like, you've been warned. Whoever that is that works down at YouTube that keeps tinkering with my channels because you don't like what I discuss, you gonna end up, it's gonna be a bunch of people getting fired down there. Okay? So I don't want to discuss it on this channel. I want to discuss it on the Witch's Broom channel. Don't come over to that channel with that mess. Any of the trolls, any of the people that have been so-called on hot pursuit of Jamila, do not come over there with that mess because you'll get shabloinked. Okay, I'm just saying. If you don't want to get thrashed and shabloinked, then stop doing that. Okay, because you're not going to stop me from getting this information out there for people. Okay? Yeah, you're just not going to do it. Okay? I personally would never, like, for example, I have sensed succubus and incubus spirits, and I personally am not interested in them being involved in my sexual encounters. In fact, you know how they say that grape is not about sex? Well, guess what? Succubus and incubuses are only there to feed. That's it. So we're going to talk about all of that. And what is a succubus or incubus going to, I have control over those entities. They can't tell me what to do. They can't tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, and they are a lower life form than me. They are now I don't want to say lower life form, but I can say that, but they are also of no authority. Like literally, like I outrank them in authority. Totally. Totally. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna stop me from talking about it? I mean, get the fuck out of here. Obviously, at this point in this situation, I would be invincible. So it is what it is. You know, they need to go sit down somewhere. Because what spirit has told me is that they are possessing many, they are harming many, and that's what I am here for, to stop that from happening to people. Okay? All right? If you choose to just let a succubus or an incubus just take all your life form, that life force and your vitality, that's your choice. But the people that don't want that, they have the right, and it does. You don't need it. Well, at least I don't. I don't need to glamour somebody into being attracted to me. So you know, I guess it would depend on the person. Okay. Okay. So you know, and I started my practice 10 years ago, and not once did I ever use an incubi or a succubi. In fact, they have been adversaries to me personally, and it is because I am a witch. Okay, they are very closely related. It's closely related to psychic vampirism. Psychic vampirism is actually derived from incubuses and succubuses, okay? So nobody just wants to sit and have their energy drained, and everybody ain't stupid, okay? Just put it like that. And the information has been getting suppressed and distracted from the spiritual community for far too long, and you know, it's time for it to be said. Okay, so I did a live over there a few minutes ago. I'll be back later, okay? Because I got things that I got to do. Okay, I don't have time to play cat and mouse or push and pull. It ain't no push and pull. You know what my spirits are gonna do is that, being that these particular entities and whoever they possess are brave enough to try to come at me sideways, they gonna handle you all day during the day. And then when I have time to come back later, it may not be until tomorrow, because I got a lot of stuff to do. Then you're going to be handled and dealt with, and we can talk about the situation. But don't come at me, because they literally did try to come at me, you know, and it's not like I felt anything. I didn't feel nothing. Nothing touched us. But it's just the point that I could see them like acting out, you know, on YouTube. It's just like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them that are possessed by those entities, they're falling apart. Those entities are literally taking their beauty, their vitality. They look terrible. Their health is going. It's like, well, and I guess that's what possession is about. Listen, I'm not asking you. You don't have to be a client of mine, but my clients that I am aligned with have the right to know, for them, for their family, for their lives, for their husbands, their wives, or whatever. And then also I have the right to clarify my position. So go and look at the one that I did do already, but we're going to cover all of that a little bit later. I got to go. Okay, but this is starting to become a trip, because you know, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, okay? I can assure you that whoever you are, you not touching me at all, or nobody around me. I know I got a lot of little ones. I got people that I love. I got a lot of clients. Trust me, all of them. I've got about 1,000,000 hands, extra hands to touch on them, to touch them and cover them. Okay, so why even try to understand the shit? Might sound weird, but one time I saw someone possessed by a succubus spirit, and I can't believe how seductive the person was. Yeah, that does happen. That does happen, Adam Muhammad. But You know, I would, or I would have to know the situation, so I can't, I can't agree that that's actually a succubus spirit. I can't agree to that. But what I do know is that there's a lot, some possession by succubuses is unwanted and unwarranted. You know, nobody's asked for a succubus um, to help them, right? But then again, there are some people that will call on those particular entities to, gain some kind of sexual prowess or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So yeah, that, like I said, I've never done that personally. Um and I my sexual power is not derived from a succubus. In fact, no. No, 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 no. Okay. And they will ruin your life. They will. Okay? Because they don't give a damn about you. You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll talk about it. And I'm gonna cover everything. Either it'll be either later on today or tomorrow that I'll cover that, or I may just record a video. But I gotta go right now, y'all. It's just and some of these people that are under these possessions work at YouTube, and so nobody's gonna play a technological game with you. You do realize that it doesn't matter what you make it look like. You still have not. I'm blacklisted technically, but spiritually, I'm not. I don't need 5,000 views or 50 live viewers to get clients. This is and so it's again, it's that nature of that incubus and succubus that keeps doing shit and wasting time, and it doesn't matter what you do, the result is still going to be the same. That just Anyway, guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna go get me some coffee and get something to eat in me, and so I'll talk to y'all later. Okay. All right, make sure y'all hit the thumbs up also. I'm not understanding why, but I've actually seen YouTube do this. They usually start their crap on Wednesday. Why do they do the same thing that's not helping them? These people are still getting sick, they're still dying, they're still upset and angry, and they still haven't gained anything. I'm so confused about why they've been running this stupid cycle starting every Wednesday. They've been doing it for years, and it still is not they haven't gained any momentum. They've done I don't get it. I don't get it. Goodness gracious. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Go make sure y'all go and sub to the Witch's Broom channel, okay? All right, bye-bye.